Meanwhile, senior Israeli minister says Syrian President Bashar al-Assad may win the battle against the foreign-backed insurgents. Israeli intelligence minister Yuval Steinitz says Assad may prevail in the conflict as he enjoys support of Iran and Lebanon's resistance movement Hezbollah. The Israeli minister referred to the recent vital success by the Syrian army in the strategic city of Qusayr, saying government forces may regain more territories from the insurgents. It's the first time a senior Israeli official gives such an account of the Syrian conflict. His statement has been refuted by some other Israeli officials who say that Steinitz is misinformed in his assessment. Well, joining us now is James Jatras. He's a former U.S. Senate foreign policy analyst, joining us from the studios in Washington. Mr. Jatras, thank you very much for joining us here on Press TV. Now, I'd like to first concentrate on the comments made by the Israeli intelligence minister that Assad may prevail in this conflict in Syria. What are your initial reactions to that?
My initial reactions, my reaction is that what he says is very similar to what I have seen from other Israeli sources, that they also believe that Mr. Assad is getting the upper hand. And from an Israeli point of view, this, I think, shows how American policy has actually undermined Israel's security. That Israel now is looking at the prospect of having Hezbollah along its Golan border, which is something that would not have happened if the United States and its allies had not been so strongly supporting the al-Qaeda and other Sunni jihadi forces that are fighting the Assad regime. It just shows the complete counterproductive effects of Western policy.
Of course, as the Syrian army continues to make gains after Qusayr, there is a scrambling amongst the West and its regional allies over how to handle the situation from here on forth. Do you think they will be taking the diplomatic route, finding a political solution at the Geneva II talks seriously this time and honestly, or do you see them propping up the insurgents further with more arms and also arming the neighbors of Syria, namely Jordan and Turkey?
I think it all comes down to one man, and that man is Barack Obama. He has to decide what he wants his legacy to be and whether he wants to get sucked into this war. There are people of both parties that are pushing him to establish a no-fly zone, to arm the Syrian rebels, and I think he knows where that leads. Politically for him, and I don't think he wants that. At the same time, he may be under some pressure to at least promise some support for the Syrian rebels so that at least some of them agree to come to the peace talks in Geneva, which the Syrian government has already said it will participate in. It's a very delicate position he finds himself in.
And do you think, very quickly if you can, the U.S. has dug itself in so deep with regards to the situation in Syria that it's a lose-lose situation for U.S. either way?
It's certainly a loser situation for the United States compared to the way it could have been handled earlier on if we had not dug ourselves in so far. The question is are we now in the process of digging ourselves out by refusing to look at the removal of Bashar al-Assad as the only possible outcome and supporting the rebels until that result is reached? I think, to the contrary, Mr. Obama is trying to break away from that, but it's still uncertain at this point.
Okay, James Jatras, former U.S. Senate foreign policy analyst, joining us here from Washington. Mr. Jatras, it's always a pleasure having you with us here on Press TV.